I love our diverse city. Growing up in a small Appalachian town, everyone looked the same, we sounded the same, we dressed the same. Most of us were even related. That's not the case in Houston today, and especially not in the 5th grade elementary class I teach. My class mirrors Houston. We have a large immigrant population from multiple countries. Their reasons for being here are as varied as their home country. They come for health care, education, relocation from natural disasters, escape from war, safety from religious persecution. The list goes on and on. As a Christian, I am called to love others who are not like me. This is vitally important since love, just like hate and racism, is contagious. Christians should be leaders in creating cultures of kindness and respect. I am constantly challenged by verses like Exodus 22:21. Do not mistreat or oppress a foreigner, for you were once foreigners in Egypt. Remembering that God saw me as a foreigner until Jesus intervened and did for me what I could not do for myself softens my heart to those newcomers around me. As I reflect on how Jesus welcomed me as a new Christian, I attempt to welcome newcomers and generate empathy for them in my classroom. After going over a tricky math word problem, I often ask, wouldn't this be hard if English wasn't your first language? Start of the year's class mixers always include the question, if someone were new to our school, what were the 3 most important things they would need to know on the first day? Where is the bathroom and where is the nurse always top the list. Soon we will take time to talk about rodeo. Someone needs to tell the new kids why overnight the entire city goes to bed, then wakes up and decides, we are cowboys. They want to know where all the hats and boots come from. Seriously, my goal is to keep the needs of the newcomer, the other, constantly at the forefront. Don't get me wrong, it's not always idyllic. Sometimes our cultures and our assumptions trip us up and we land in Houston-sized potholes. We have to climb out, talk, apologize, and forgive to get our fledgling relationships back on track. But every now and then, God grants us a moment when we can see each other as God wants us to see each other. Recently, we were studying the immigration waves of the 1800s, especially the immigration of the Irish to America during the Great Potato Famines. We talked about the substandard, crowded tenement buildings and how hard it was to find a new job if you had a thick accent. We discussed the hard choice of leaving your homeland, not knowing if you'd ever see your family again, the ones that you'd left behind. One of my students raised his hand and thoughtfully asked, is it just as hard being an immigrant today? Before I could take a breath to answer, one of my new students said quietly yet quickly, yes. We were shocked into silence because she never spoke. Sometimes even when we spoke to her directly, she didn't speak back to us. She said again softly, yes, it's hard. As the silence lingered, the boy who had asked the question said, I'm sorry. She nodded her head and gave him a half smile. And I thought again, I love our diverse city. Please, God, let me always remember the newcomers in our midst.